our soccer headshot assignment because we're going to put them together a little bit differently than we did our wrestling or basketball headshots from the winter season. So on the Canvas assignment, I have your name highlighted in yellow, and then next to your name, I have the athlete that you are going to make a headshot for. Before we get started looking at our resources and getting those downloaded, I would recommend pulling up Premiere Pro because sometimes that can take a little bit to get loaded. And then I would set it up the way that you want so that we can make these headshots. So you may see when you go home and you start a new project, it is going to create a new project for you. I titled mine Soccer Headshots. You can title yours whatever you want. And when you click into it, it should have some panels open for you based on the last time that you used these. There may be a ton of panels open, there may be not very many. The only panels, we're only going to need a couple panels. We need effects control, we need source, we need project, and we need timeline. And these may be located anywhere on your screen. It changes based on the when you downloaded it and the version of Premiere Pro that you may have. I like to set my screen up with having effects controls at the top left, having source at the top left together. I like to drag my project down to this bottom square. I don't want it all the way at the bottom where it's highlighted in green, but I want this bottom square that's highlighted in blue so that the left side of my screen is split. And then we actually don't need any other panels. So I see I have Lumetri color here. I'm going to click on these three little lines next to it, and I'm going to close panel. If you are missing any of these boxes that we do need, like source, effect controls, project, timeline, or program, you can click on window, and here they all are. If it has a check mark next to it, that means that it is showing up on my screen already. Sometimes we don't always see them, like the info. That is always going to be present, even if it's not directly showing up as a panel on our screen. But let's say I wanted to have libraries up so that I can search for tools. I can have that up, but for this project we don't need it, so I'm going to click on those and I'm going to close the panel. But that's how you can find these other panels if you are missing them. Now that we have that set up, we are going to go back to our Canvas page and we are going to click on the resources link. This is going to take us to our video headshot folder. You are going to firstly find the video of the athlete that you are assigned to, and you are going to download it. Once that is downloaded, I'm going to drag it into the project bin of Premiere Pro. So now when I'm in Premiere Pro, I have my video located here. Then you're going to go back into that folder and you are going to click on nameplates. You are going to download the nameplate and once it is ready, it's a PSD, which means it's a Photoshop file. You're just going to click on it so that it opens up Photoshop. I have made the nameplates for you, so I have the name, I have their year, and then I have their graduation year. One thing that I was not able to automate and that I need you to do is you are going to click in to where it says this 23, it either says 23, 24, 25, or 26. Over here in our layers, we see that it says date var. We're going to click into it, so we can either click date var and then click into it, or if you hover over and you double click, you should be able to do that. You're going to go above the 23 or in front of the 23, and I'm going to add an apostrophe. That is all that we need to do. Then we are going to File, Save As. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to go File, Save, and then File, Save As. It should be titled with that athlete's name already. You need to save it to your desktop, and then you need to save. So now on your desktop, you have the nameplate for the athlete, and in Premiere Pro, you have the video for that athlete. Just like we dragged our video in, you are going to drag your nameplate in, and you're going to push OK. Now for the rest of the time, I'm just going to be working in Premiere Pro. I'm going to take the video, and I'm going to drag it into this timeline spot. That's where I'm going to be able to edit the video. I'm going to zoom in so that I can get a more accurate selection. And to do that, I'm going to click into this timeline so that it's highlighted in blue. And I'm just going to push the plus sign on my keyboard. That's much better. That way I can have specific sections of this video, or I can get more specific in what I select. Just like last time, you're going to watch the video, and you are going to pick the best 6 seconds. I'm sorry, the best 7 seconds. So let's say that is where I want to start. That's where I want to start my video. I'm going to get the razor tool. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to get my selection tool. I'm going to delete that portion. And then I'm going to bring everything back to the beginning. So now I pushed, to start and stop, I'm pushing the space bar. So let's say that's where I wanted to end. I wanted to end it, and I'm moving. I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard, the left and right, to move back frame by frame. Let's say that's where I want to end. So again, I'm going to get my razor tool, cut it, move to my selection tool, and I'm going to select the part I don't want, and I'm going to delete it. All right, so one thing we notice is that this is only 5.5 seconds. I want it to be 7. So to make this longer, I could slow it down. So I'm going to click on the video. I'm going to push, while holding Command, I'm going to push R. So Command R is the shortcut. And I can change this around to different durations. So let's say I want it at 70% speed. Now my video is almost 8 seconds. That's too long. So let's speed it up just a little bit. So I'm going to do Command R again. Let's put it at 80% of the normal speed. All right, that puts us almost at 7 seconds. 6:56 is perfect. So now I can see it is a little bit slower. It's not terribly slow. It doesn't look crazy, but just a little bit slower. Now I can add the nameplate in. So I grabbed Sutton Richardson's name. I'm gonna grab the nameplate. I'm gonna move it into my video. So now I see it showing up. I'm going to click on the pink, which is the nameplate, and I'm going to do another keyboard shortcut, which is Command D, so that I have a dissolve effect on the beginning and the end. I'm going to start back at the beginning. I push play with my space bar. I can see it fades onto the screen. That looks nice. And then it fades off. And then the video ends. We want the name to fade off at about 1 second left. So if this is 7:01, then at 6:01 is when I want it to fade. That's close enough. So I need to fill this gap right here. We see whenever I hover over the nameplate, I get this red arrow that's pointing to the right. When that shows up, we're gonna click and we're gonna drag until we get to that blue line. That makes our nameplate stay on the video just a little bit longer. When I am done, when I'm happy with the video selection that I have chosen, I'm going to export my video. One thing to note, I know it may be difficult, but when we are selecting the portion of the video that we include, we do not want a portion where they are talking. We don't want a portion where they're looking off camera. We want them to be focused. We want them to be looking straight. We want them to be smiling. I know it may be difficult, and at the end they may start talking a little bit, and we'll do what we can, but try to pick the best 7 seconds. And just like we saw in this video, if it's 5 to 6 seconds, we can always slow it down just a little bit so that we don't get a portion of the video where they are talking, where they're doing anything inappropriate, whatever. Alrighty, so if I'm happy with my video, I'm going to export it. So on my keyboard, I'm going to bring this blue line to the very beginning. On my keyboard, I'm going to push I. That selects everything. I'm going to push the down key on my arrows. It gives us a black screen, and we can see that my blue line is at the very end. And then we're going to push the left arrow 1 time. We don't want our video to end on a black screen. We want it to end on a picture of them. Once I have pushed that left arrow once so that it's back on a picture of that athlete, I'm going to push the O key. And we see here it has now only selected this portion of the video. I'm going to use another keyboard shortcut. I'm going to do Command M. It's going to pull up our save. So title it their first name, last name. Most important thing we can do, make sure that you have audio turned off. We do not want to hear what they are saying in the background. We want it to be silent. And then I would save it to your desktop. Once we have the audio turned off, you have changed the name. We are going to, and making sure that this says range source in/out. It has to say in/out. You can send to Media Encoder. This also may take a little bit of time to open up. It could take like up to 30 seconds or a minute. We can see mine is still loading. Okay, great. So once it's in Media Encoder, I see here, this is my video. I can see here, this is where it's going to save. Double check that it's going to save somewhere that you can easily find it, like desktop. It's going to tell you that it's ready, and then you're just going to push this green arrow. And once it is done, it tells you that it's done. I have my video here. I'm going to move it over to the side so it's easy for me to find in just a second. And now, you need to go back to our Canvas assignment. And you're not going to submit it to Canvas because that was kind of difficult for me to download them all. You're going to submit them directly to our Google Drive. So click on this folder that I have linked at the bottom. This is where you're going to submit it. And by submit it, I mean just drag your completed video here. This way, it will not autofill a 0 if you had to like email it to me, and then I can put them directly onto our TriCaster system. We have our first soccer game on Friday, so it is not an option for these videos to be late. They have to be done by class time tomorrow so that I can go out tomorrow and upload our headshots. It is scheduled to be submitted by 9 a.m., which means that you have first and second hour tomorrow to get them done. And you have today's class period. It should not take very long to do these 2 steps to make your video.